This is eggplant parmigiana. It's like when you make lasagna, but instead of using noodles and bechamel sauce, you use vegetables and cheese. The original recipe calls for eggplants, but you can substitute with potatoes or zucchine. The cheese gives a gooey and stringy texture, and the well-seasoned vegetables with a rich tomato sauce give the interesting flavor. If you want to know how I did it, just keep watching. On medium heat, I add up 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and when runny, I add 3 garlic cloves. Then I tilt the pan and let it infuse until it stops bubbling. I'm putting the pan back on the stove, and then I add 26 ounces of strained tomatoes. I will rinse the package with half a cup of water that I will add to the pan. I add some seasoning, so I add 1 teaspoon of salt, and then I add 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. I mix salt and pepper into the sauce, so the sauce can be properly seasoned, and then I add 5 basil leaves. If you cannot find fresh basil, you can use 2 teaspoons of dry basil. I mix the basil in, then I cover it with the lid and I let it cook it on low for about 30 minutes. It has to lightly simmer. I'm gonna need 2 eggplants. I am going to remove the skin, so I will peel them off. Then I will cut them lengthwise, and then I will place them in a strainer and cover them with coarse salt. The salt will help to remove all the bitterness from the eggplant. Of course, I need to do this process 1 eggplant at a time. Otherwise, if I peel them off both at the same time, I run the risk that they become dark because they oxidate. Okay, this step is very important because you really need to remove all the bitterness from the eggplant. So you grab a colander and then you lie 2 slices on the bottom and you salt them with coarse salt, both sides. And then you keep pile them on top and you keep salting them. So all the bitterness will come out. After I am done covering with salt the eggplants, I will place a plate underneath the colander so it will catch all the liquid, and I will set them aside for about 30 minutes. The salt did its job, so all the liquid is collected at the bottom of the plate. Now I'm going to rinse them under running water, and then I will pat them dry and I will start baking them. When all the slices are dry, I am going to light them on a baking sheet covered with parchment paper, and I am going to just gently and lightly season them with a pinch of salt and a pinch of pepper. Then I am going to coat them with some olive oil. I'll bake them at 356 for 30 minutes. And here is the other eggplant. The process is exactly the same. I peeled it, then I create the slices. I coat them with the salt and set them aside for 30 minutes. Then I rinse them and pat them dry. When it was time to bake, I unfortunately ran out of parchment paper, so I greased a glass pan and I light them on top. I season the slices and then I bake them like I did with the other ones. While the second eggplant is cooking, I am going to shred 4 cups of Parmesan cheese and 4 cups of mozzarella cheese. It's time to compose the dish. The first thing that I'm going to do is to lie at the bottom of the pan some tomato sauce. Then I will start with the layers. There's going to be a layer of eggplants. There is going to be another layer of tomato sauce, topped with some mozzarella cheese, and finished with some Parmesan cheese. And then you start all over again. There's gonna be the eggplant, the tomato sauce, the mozzarella cheese, and the Parmesan cheese, and so on until you reach the top of the pan. When you reach the last layer, which is the top of the pan, sprinkle a lot of like mozzarella and Parmesan cheese to create a nice, crispy, gooey, and stringy effect. Then bake at 355 for 30 minutes. And this is your final result. Before eating it, let it sit for about 10 minutes so it can set, and then enjoy it. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you so much for watching.